What if I told you that the greatest military strategist in Chinese history wasn't a general, but a river? Or that its most formidable fortress wasn't built of stone, but of impassable mountains and desolate deserts? For thousands of years, the rise and fall of China's epic dynasties, the outcomes of its most brutal wars, and the very identity of its people have been secretly dictated by the land itself. Most of history focuses on the emperors, warriors, and inventors. But the real mastermind, the hidden hand guiding the story, has always been the geography. In this video, we're counting down 25 shocking geographical facts that reveal how China's extreme landscapes forged its empires and fueled its most legendary conflicts. We'll journey from the fertile river basins that served as the cradle of civilization to the forbidding mountains and deserts that acted as both shields and battlegrounds. You'll see how impassable ranges weren't just scenery, but strategic walls that birthed independent kingdoms. You'll discover how vast deserts weren't just empty wastelands, but corridors that channeled the flow of armies, trade, and ideas, ultimately shaping the destiny of over 1 billion people. The river cradles of civilization and conflict. We begin where Chinese civilization itself was born: its mighty rivers. These waterways were the source of life, but also of immense destruction and conflict. 1. The Yellow River, often called the cradle of Chinese civilization, gets its distinct color from the massive amounts of low silt it carries from the plains. But this same fertile silt also made the river incredibly prone to flooding, earning it the terrifying nickname China's Sorrow. 2. The immense destructive power of the Yellow River's floods has been a direct catalyst for dynastic change. For instance, a catastrophic flood around AD 14 is thought to have helped trigger the rebellion that led to the collapse of the Western Han dynasty. 3. In 1642, a Ming governor even tried to use the river as a weapon, breaking the dikes to wash away a rebel army, only to drown nearly 300,000 of his own citizens and doom his city. 4. The very first legendary dynasty, the Xia, was said to have been founded when its hero, Yu the Great, united tribes specifically to combat the Yellow River's devastating floods, establishing a powerful precedent: control the rivers and you control China. 5. While the Yellow River birthed the earliest dynasties, China's economic and cultural heartland gradually shifted south to the more stable and agriculturally rich Yangtze region, a process accelerated by wars like the Anxi Rebellion in the 8th century, which drove populations southward. 6. By the Song dynasty, the area along the Yangtze had become the wealthiest part of the country. The fertile delta, perfect for growing rice, provided as much as half of the entire empire's revenue, forever shifting the balance of power to the rice-rich south. The mountainous fortresses of the west and south. Heading west, we encounter China's next great geographical player, its mountains. Far from being passive backdrops, these ranges are strategic dividers and natural fortresses that have defined borders and decided wars for millennia. 7. The Qinling Mountains are more than just a range. They are China's great natural divider, stretching for over 1,600 kilometers to serve as the boundary between the subtropical south and the temperate north. 8. This range was so effective as a defensive wall that it helped protect the heartlands of early dynasties like the Zhou and Han, as its few key passes funneled and restricted enemy armies. 9. To the far southwest, the Himalayas, the highest mountains in the world, created a nearly impassable border that effectively isolated China from the civilizations of the Indian subcontinent. 10. China's geography is often described as a three-step staircase, descending in elevation from the massive mountains in the west down to the coastal plains in the east. 11. The top step of this staircase is the colossal Tibetan Plateau, known as the Roof of the World, which averages over 4,000 meters in elevation, making it largely impenetrable to early empires. 12. This very impenetrability was later turned into a strategic advantage, as dynasties that could control Tibet, like the Mongol Yuan and Manchu Qing, used the plateau as a massive, elevated fortress to project power westward. 13. The Sichuan Basin, nicknamed the Land of Heaven's Bounty, is a massive, fertile plain completely encircled by mountains, a unique geography that makes it both incredibly productive and highly defensible. 14. The basin's defensibility made it a recurring strategic prize and rebel base. The state of Qin conquered it in 316 BCE to build a resource base for unifying China, and it later became the heart of the Shu Han Kingdom during the Three Kingdoms period. 15. In southern China, the rugged karst mountain ranges of the Yunnan Guizhou Plateau created a fractured terrain so difficult to control that it allowed numerous ethnic minority groups to resist assimilation for centuries. The deserts and plateaus, natural walls and corridors. To the north and northwest, China's landscape transforms into some of the most hostile environments on Earth. But these deserts and plateaus were not voids. They were strategic arenas that shaped the very concept of China's borders. 16. The Gobi Desert, a vast expanse of rock and gravel stretching across northern China, acted as a formidable natural barrier against the nomadic horsemen of the steppe, like the Xiongnu and the Mongols. 17. The Great Wall of China wasn't built in a random line. Large sections of it were strategically constructed along the southern edge of the Gobi Desert, using the desert as a giant natural moat. 18. Further west lies the Taklamakan Desert, China's largest, a place whose name is often translated as "you can get in, but you can never get out," as it is one of the largest shifting sand deserts in the world. 19. The Taklamakan wasn't a complete barrier, as its edges were dotted with a series of vital oasis towns which formed the two branches of the legendary Silk Road, turning the desert's perimeter into a crucial corridor. 20. Control of these oasis towns was the key to controlling Central Asia, prompting dynasties like the Han and Tang to expend enormous military effort to garrison these outposts and secure the Silk Road. 21. The Loess Plateau is the world's largest deposit of loess, a fertile yellow soil that gives the Yellow River its name, but is also highly prone to the erosion that has contributed to the river's devastating floods. 22. The Ordos Loop, a huge bend in the Yellow River on the edge of the Loess Plateau, served as a crucial staging ground for both nomadic invaders heading south and for Chinese dynasties launching punitive expeditions north. The strategic lowlands and man-made arteries. Finally, we return to the lowlands, where China's fate was often forged, not just by nature, but by human ingenuity on a staggering scale. 23. The North China Plain is the historical heart of China, and its flat, fertile terrain was the cradle of the earliest dynasties like the Shang and Zhou. 24. The plain's very flatness was a curse as well as a blessing. While great for agriculture, it offered no natural defenses, a vulnerability that directly led to the construction of both the Great Wall and the Grand Canal. 25. The Grand Canal, the longest man-made waterway in the world, was first constructed by the Sui dynasty, primarily for a military purpose. to transport troops and supplies from the rich agricultural south to the political and military centers in the north. This artificial river became the economic lifeline that bound the politically dominant north with the economically powerful south. China's long coastline, while seemingly offering an opening to the world, has played a complex role. For much of its history, the primary threats came from the northern land border, leading dynasties to focus inward. This continental mindset, shaped by the ever-present threat from the steppes, contributed to periods of maritime isolation, even after legendary naval expeditions like those of Jing He in the 15th century. From the river that could topple an empire to the mountains that caged a kingdom, China's geography has been anything but a passive stage. It has been an active participant, a silent strategist, and a ruthless engineer of history. The mountains, deserts, and rivers didn't just witness the rise and fall of dynasties, they directed it. They created the divisions that led to the epic warring states period, provided the natural fortresses that secured imperial heartlands, and laid out the strategic corridors that became the arteries of war and commerce. The story of China is inseparable from the story of its land, a dramatic, unyielding landscape that has forged a civilization as vast, complex, and resilient as the geography itself. If you found this look into the secret history of China's geography fascinating, be sure to hit that like button and subscribe for more deep dives into how our world is shaped. And let us know in the comments which geographical fact surprised you the most. Thanks for watching.